Alright, so jumping straight into one of the first expenses that go into building a dropshipping business is obviously the platform that you're going to use. And when I say platform, there's so many different ones out there. You can use things like Squarespace, Wix, WooCommerce, but the one that I normally recommend beginners to use, because I use it myself, is Shopify. And the amount that you can expect to pay for a basic plan is going to be around $39 every single month. Now, this might sound like a lot, but when it comes to building your e-commerce website using Shopify, you're going to get so many different benefits. Again, I've been using it myself now for the past 5, 6, maybe 7 years at this point. But if you are a beginner that doesn't necessarily have a big budget and you're looking to cut down on expenses wherever you can, then you're going to be able to sign up for a 3-month trial with Shopify and only pay around $3. So this is something that I wish I had when I first started, because it would have saved me a lot of money initially when it came to me getting my business off the ground. So if you did want to save this $39 that you're going to have to pay every single month, then I'd recommend that you use the trial link in my description down below. Alright, so swiftly moving on to the second expense that you need to be aware of once you have signed up for a Shopify account, which is going to be the website theme. And if you are completely new to dropshipping and you don't know exactly what a website theme is, it's essentially what is going to give your website its overall look. And one of the benefits of using Shopify is that you can go onto their theme store and you're going to be able to filter between the free themes as well as the paid themes. Now, in my opinion, I would say that you don't necessarily need to pay for a theme when it comes to getting started, because you're going to be able to get good results with any one of these different free themes. And it's going to be a simple case of you scrolling through and picking whichever one goes with the overall brand that you're trying to build, and then click into it, apply it to your website, and then from there you're going to be able to make any changes that you need to. So the budget that I would say that you need to expect to pay for the overall design of your website is going to be between $0 to $250. And the reason why I put this range there is because if you're someone that is capable of building your own website without needing any help in terms of the images, the graphics, and just generally everything that goes into making a website look professional, then you don't necessarily need to pay anyone. But if you do want to get someone to do it for you because you might not be that tech savvy, then it's going to cost you around $250. And you can easily find someone to design it for you on websites like Upwork, freelancer.com, or even Fiverr. Okay, so moving on to the third expense that I'm going to talk about, which is the product cost. And I know right now you're probably thinking, but Sam, isn't this a dropshipping business? I don't need to pay for any inventory. And you're completely right. But the reason why I put this as something that you need to budget for is because once you start getting orders coming through, you're not going to be able to get that money straight away. Reason being is because Shopify payments may hold on to it for a certain amount of time, maybe about a week or so. And then after that, you're going to be able to log into the back end of your Shopify account and then change the settings so that you receive the money straight away. But as I already said, initially, you're going to need to use your own money to buy the product from your supplier so that there's no delay in terms of your customer receiving their orders. And in terms of how much money you should budget for this, it all depends on what items you're selling. If it's lower ticket items, then you may not need that much. Obviously, if it's higher ticket, then you're going to need a little bit more. But if I was considering to start a brand new dropshipping store today, then I'll consider setting aside $200 minimum. Okay, so onto the fourth expense that you guys need to be aware of is going to be marketing. And for those of you that don't know what marketing is, this is simply what you're going to do for customers to even be aware of your website in the first place. And there's various different ways that you can do marketing, but it all comes down to free methods and paid methods. And that's the reason why I believe that your marketing budget should be between $0 to around $300 minimum per month. So if you're looking to go down the free marketing route, this is going to be things like TikTok organic, maybe using things like Instagram Reels, or even getting your website ranked on Google through SEO. And when it comes to various different paid methods that you can use, this is things like Facebook ads, TikTok ads, which is very popular right now, and the one that I like to use, which is Google Shopping ads. And if you are considering to use paid ads, you're going to be able to set any budget that you want to. You can set around $5 per day, $10 per day. You don't have to set a big budget to start off with, but do bear in mind that as you continue growing and scaling your dropshipping business, you're going to want to spend even more on paid ads so that you can increase your revenue and ultimately make more profit. And onto the fifth expense that a lot of people tend to neglect when they first get started is apps and softwares. So when it comes to building your e-commerce business using Shopify, you're going to be able to go into the app store and see that there's multiple different apps that you can use when it comes to enhancing your business and making it a little bit more optimized for you to increase your sales. There's apps when it comes to helping you find products, selling products, helping you with your orders and shipping, store design, marketing, store management, etc., etc. There's so many different apps that are out there, and of course you're not going to install all of them. You're going to pick the ones that you need need for the position that your business is in. There's probably around 5, maybe 6 different apps and softwares that I used when it came to getting me to my first $100,000 in revenue. So you definitely don't need to think about installing 20, 30 different apps because that might be a little bit too much. But whatever you do decide to do, I would say that you should expect to spend around $49 per month. So again, as I already said, if you do decide that you don't want any apps, you're going to be able to do that. It's not a requirement for you to have a dropshipping business. And that's the reason why I put 0 right here. But it is important for you to be aware of the fact that majority of brand new stores that just get started, for them to get their first official sale, they do have at least 1 or 2 apps on their store that help them get that first sale. And if you want to see me make a detailed video where I break down 4, maybe 5 apps that I would recommend every single beginner to install onto their store, then put in the comments down below, do the Shopify app video, and I'll get onto that ASAP. Okay, so on to the next expense, which isn't a requirement, it's not really needed, but it's something that I thought you guys should be aware of, which is freelancers. Now, when I first started one of my first ever dropshipping stores, I didn't really use freelancers before that, but once I did get started with a dropshipping business, I needed freelancers for so many different things. Whether it was helping me with customer service and replying to all of the messages and emails that I was getting, there were so many different things that kept popping up every so often that I needed a freelancer for, and that's the reason why I believe that you should have a budget of around $100 per month minimum. Now, a lot of these freelancers are going to charge you based on how many orders you're getting, how many emails you're getting, so I'm not able to give you a fixed amount, and different freelancers have different rates depending on their experience. But as long as you're aware of the fact that you are going to need a freelancer at one point or another, you're now going to be able to make sure that you're setting some sort of money aside. Which actually now brings me on to the 7th expense that a lot of people completely forget about when they first start any online business, which is taxes. So the mistake that a lot of beginners make when they first start dropshipping is that they completely neglect the fact that they are going to have to pay taxes on the profit that they make. But the key word there is profit, because if your business doesn't make any profit, then of course you don't need to pay any taxes. And of course, everything I'm saying right now isn't financial advice, and it all depends on the country that you're living in. But the interesting thing about taxes is that even though your business may or may not make any taxes, you are going to need to set a budget aside just in case it does, and you're also going to need a budget for any bookkeepers or any accounting software. So for taxes, I would say that the budget that you should expect to pay really does depend on how much money your business makes and so many other factors. And that's the reason why I'm not able to give you an exact amount. And this now brings me on to the 8th and final cost that you guys need to make sure that you're budgeting for, which is random expenses. And for this, I would advise that you set around $200 to the side. Now, if there's one thing that I've personally learned about building online businesses, and it doesn't even need to just be dropshipping, is that there's always going to be random expenses that you didn't expect. Something on your website might stop working and you're going to have to pay to get it fixed, or the supplier that you might be using might be out of stock and you're going to have to use a more expensive supplier temporarily. There's so many different issues that may arise when it comes to building a dropshipping business. And that's the reason why you need to make sure that you have minimum $200, but again, it all depends on the size of the e-commerce business that you're trying to build. Now, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to press the like button. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe as well and hit the bell notification. And if you want to sign up to a completely free webinar where I explain my story in a little bit more detail as to how I was able to get to my first $1,000 in profit with one of my first ever Shopify stores, then you can watch that free webinar by clicking the first link in the description down below. And if you also want to watch another YouTube video that I made not too long ago where I break down step by step what you need to know when it comes to doing dropshipping as a side hustle if you're currently working a full-time job, then make sure you click the link right there. Check that out straight after this one because it's already helped out so many people, and I'm sure that it's going to help you out too. Alright guys, I'll see you on the next one. Make sure you stay safe out there. Peace.